Esophagus, commonly known as food pipe, which connects the pharynx to the stomach. It consists of three parts: cervical, thoracic, abdominal. Size and extent. Esophagus is about 25 centimeters long. It begins in the lower part of the neck at the level of the lower border of the cricoid cartilage. Then it runs downwards in front of the vertebral column through the superior and posterior mediastinum. Then it traverses the diaphragm at the level of the 10th thoracic vertebra and ends at the cardiac orifice of the stomach at the level of the 11th thoracic vertebra. Curvatures. Esophagus presents two curvatures, which lies on its left. One is at the root of the neck, and the other one is near the lower end of the T7 vertebra, before passing in front of the descending thoracic aorta. Esophagus also has curvatures in antero-posterior direction, which corresponds to curvatures of the cervicothoracic vertebra. Constrictions. Esophagus presents following four constrictions. The first one is at its commencement, that is 15 centimeters from the incisor teeth, produced by the pharyngoesophageal junction at the level of C6 vertebra. The second one is 22.5 centimeters from the incisor teeth, where it is crossed by the arch of aorta at the level of T4. The third one is at the level of T6, where it is crossed by the left bronchus. It is 27.5 centimeters from the incisors. The fourth one is at the level of T10. As it traverses the diaphragm, it is 37.5 centimeters from the incisor teeth. Relations. Cervical part. Anteriorly, trachea. Recurrent laryngeal nerve on each side or near the groove between the trachea and esophagus. Posteriorly, vertebral column. Longus coli and prevertebral layer of deep cervical fascia. Laterally, common carotid artery and posterior part of the thyroid gland. On the left side, thoracic duct. Thoracic part. In the superior mediastinum, anteriorly, trachea. Arch of aorta. Left bronchus. Pericardium with left atrium and oblique sinus of pericardium. Diaphragm. Posteriorly, thoracic part of vertebral column. Right posterior intercostal arteries. Thoracic duct. Azygos and termination of hemiazygos and accessory hemiazygos veins. thoracic aorta, right pleural recess, diaphragm, abdominal part of the esophagus, blood supply, arterial supply. Cervical part is supplied by inferior thyroid artery. Thoracic part is supplied by the esophageal branches of the aorta. Abdominal part is supplied by the esophageal branches of the left gastric artery. Venous drainage. Blood from the upper part of the esophagus drains into the brachiocephalic veins via inferior thyroid veins. Middle part is drained by azygous and hemiazygous vein. Lower part is drained by left gastric vein and partly into inferior hemiazygous vein. Lymphatic drainage. Cervical part drains into deep cervical nodes. Thoracic part drains into posterior mediastinal nodes. Abdominal part drains into left gastric nodes. Nerve supply. Parasympathetic nerves. Upper half of the esophagus is supplied by recurrent laryngeal nerve. Lower half by the esophageal plexus formed by two vagi. Parasympathetic nerves are sensory, motor and secretomotor to the esophagus. Sympathetic nerves. Upper half is supplied by fibers from the middle cervical ganglion and run on the inferior thyroid arteries. Lower half is supplied by fibers from the upper four thoracic ganglia and takes part in forming esophageal plexus.